What are you doing, puppy? Hey guys, how we doing tonight? Yeah, it's me on a Saturday. Me and Rich were gonna talk some Steelers, and Jay was gonna join us, but Rich had things going on, so we're gonna put another show together, and I'm sure what Steelers will come up in our conversation. But tonight we have Jason and Jamie. What's up, boys?
Hey, how you doing?
Good,
Hey,
good.
like old baseball player Derek Bell used to say, "Yo, yo, yo! What's up, guys? How you doing? Been a while."
Yeah, I guess we could have our World Series recap.
Well, I gotta offer an apology to Jamie because last week I was all set to go with the World Series recap, and then out of nowhere, fucking had Wi-Fi problems. And right as I'm getting ready to set it up, I get a message from Xfinity, who my Wi-Fi is through, saying, "Well, your Wi-Fi is out. It'll be out for at least 2 hours while we conduct a service thing or whatever it was." I'm like, no. So sorry, Jamie. My bad.
Yeah,
He doesn't seem too distraught about it.
Nah, it's all right.
So yeah, I offer my apology, man. But yeah,
Okay.
my bad.
So,
yeah.
Jamie, what were your thoughts on that fifth inning meltdown?
What were my reaction was I just feel like it was it was unacceptable. I mean, you can't do that against a team like the Dodgers. Even no lead is safe against a team like that, and it's the same thing with the Dodgers too. No lead is safe against the Yankees. When you have two teams that can pitch and hit, you gotta be able to close it when you can. So I give LA credit where credit was due. They capitalized on the air, and that's what it came down to.
Right. Yeah. So what's up with Garrett Cole not covering first? What's up with Garrett Cole not covering first on a ground ball to first?
I think that was more of an Anthony Rizzo problem than it was a Cole problem.
My assessment in that situation was, I think, well, ultimately Jamie's right. Ultimately, in that type of play, in that situation, it's incumbent upon the first baseman who fielded the ball to determine how he's going to make the play, whether he's going to run to the bag and tag the bag or toss to the pitcher. It's on both of them, because the minute that ball was hit towards first base, Cole should have made a beeline over there just to see if he could cover. And now on Rizzo's part, Rizzo had already seen when the ball was hit that Cole wasn't going to be over there to cover first in time. So with that being said, Rizzo should have already had it in his mind, hey, he's not going to get over there in time. I better skippity hop over there. Now, granted, Rizzo is not exactly Lou Brock. He's not fleet of foot. But still, when he saw that Cole was not running towards first base after the ball was hit, after Mookie hit the ball, that should have been right away a signal to Rizzo that he had to get over there and at least try and make a play. So it's on both of them. But ultimately, like Jamie said, it's incumbent upon the first baseman to decide at that point how he's going to make the play.
Mm-hmm.
And that, by the way, is a play that I worked on when I played ball for 13 years, man. I learned how to make that kind of play when I started playing widget ball when I was 8 years old. That's a mental mistake that, quite frankly, at the major league level is unacceptable. You got to make that play.
Mm-hmm.
First, when you're a first baseman, that's one of the first things you're taught.
Yep, that's the very first thing you're taught. One of them, yeah.
Now, Jamie, when they won Game 3 or Game 4, did you have any sense that they were going to come back?
Yeah, I did. These were two great teams, and I felt like the Yankees were too powerful not to at least try to come back. And they could have in game 5. They got through that 5th inning. I think they win that game and it goes back to Los Angeles for game 6. Now, we don't know what would have happened in game 6, but who knows? I mean, they had game 5 wrapped up until that 5th inning.
Yeah, if the game had gone to 6, the Dodgers had, I believe it was Yamamoto lined up to start 6, and then if it went to a game 7, they would have used Walker Buehler in the possible closeout. So, yeah, even if it had gone 6, going back to Dodger Stadium with Yamamoto on the bump, considering that in his game 2 start he only gave up 1 hit. But they still liked their chances, regardless of whether they had won game 5 or not.
Yeah.
Jay, were you concerned with your pitching going into 6 and 7 if it went that far? Because we saw what happened in game 4 with the relievers, and that kind of turned into where the nightmare started. I know Pence is a Yankees fan as well. He's making comments over there on the YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in, Pence. But Jay, back to that question. What were your thoughts? Like, what was going to happen in 6 and 7 with the pitching staff if it went back to LA?
Well, this is where the bullpen game in game 4 became really dicey for their long-term plans, because obviously Dave Roberts couldn't go back to his high leverage relievers in game 5, which is why Walker Buehler ultimately closed it out. And worst case scenario, if Walker Buehler hadn't been able to close it out, if he had given up that hit to Alex Verdugo to tie the game, or at least, the Yankees would have come back and walked it off, then he wouldn't have been available for game 7. So my thought was, he probably could have. Buehler could have pitched on 2 days rest. If he had been needed game 7. What?
He only pitched that 1 inning.
He only pitched that 1 inning, but still, I was also concerned that that their bullpen was still out over max, is what it was, and those guys would have definitely come back into play in game 6, not so much game 7. But I was concerned that the arms were just completely worn out, is what I was concerned about. And Dave even admitted as much, that, hey, when I used all my high leverage relievers in that bullpen game in game 4, I wasn't prepared to go to any of my starters at the time. I wanted to see if these other guys could get it done. And the only reason Buehler went on to pitch was he texted Dave Roberts from the bullpen and said, "Doc, I'm ready to go when you want me." And Doc initially thought he was kidding, until Buehler texted him again and said, "No, serious, put me in, bring me in." So, yeah, I was concerned about just the length of our rotation, what was going to be the length of everybody else going into game 6. So it was in the back of my mind there.
Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about how I think the Yankees could have exposed that more with the problems the bullpen pitching the Dodgers had. But I mean, that was just a crazy whole playoff. I mean, we already knew in the regular season that starters weren't going to go 5 innings, and like, how was that going to carry over to the postseason? And it was like a lot of the pitchers, even in the postseason, didn't really go 5 innings. It was all mixing and matching at that point. So, I mean,
yeah, Jamie. And something else too. I mean, everybody acts so surprised that, that the Dodgers use their bullpen a lot. Obviously, they were forced to because of all the injuries in their rotation. But if you look at just the state of pitching in Major League Baseball, regular season and postseason, the success of a team nowadays is more incumbent upon what you have in your bullpen than your starting rotation at any point in the history of the game. Because starters in Major League Baseball for the last 5 years, I think, have only been averaging about 4 2/3 innings per start. That's not even a quality start. So we're at a point in the game now where starting pitchers aren't allowed to go deeper than 5 innings anymore. It's now a bullpen game. It's becoming a bullpen game.
Well, Jason, that might actually it might change now, because I saw a thing where they were proposing lifting the requirement of innings to 6 innings, that pitchers must go 6 innings now instead of 5. That's what they were thinking about doing for next year.
Yeah, I heard about that too, and I mean, here's the thing about that. That what I find stupid about that is this. In addition to that 6 inning rule, Jamie, there's also a caveat built in where a pitcher also can't throw more than, I think, 90 or 95 pitches in a start, regardless of whether he goes 6 innings or not. So, and we've seen plenty of times where starters get out there, even in this postseason. Jack Flaherty, for example, in Jack Flaherty's game one start of the World Series, he had already thrown 55, 58 pitches by the third inning, for crying out loud, if I'm correct. So, along with that 6 inning rule, Jamie, what happens when a starting pitcher goes out there and throws 30 pitches in the first inning, 27 in the second inning, and then 21 in the third inning? He's going to exhaust his 90, 95 pitch limit by the 6 inning rule. So what happens then when that pitcher exhausts? It's a stupid rule. They don't need it. What they need to do is teach training staffs how to properly condition these guys again. And while you can't ever avoid injuries, especially for pitchers, making that 6 inning rule is dumb because limiting their starts, limiting their workload might actually be more detrimental to them in the long run. And in addition to that, it's going to completely alter the way Major League front offices evaluate their pitching staffs, their starting rotations, and their bullpens. It's going to put more pressure on front offices to invest in fireballing arms coming out of the bullpen. And we may see relievers get stretched longer innings as well. Because like I said earlier, if a starter can't go the 6 innings and meet that 95 pitch limit before 6 innings, you need to bring in a reliever that's going to be forced to deal with that same rule. So how are you going to enforce that for starters and relievers? It's just a stupid rule. I hear what you're saying, but we don't need it. It needs to go away, and I hope they're not considering it.
But, I mean, right. Well, I want to go back to the thing, Jason, the reason why starters aren't going.
Hens is getting involved here, too.
That's true. The pitch count doesn't matter anymore. But I want to also say the reason why starters aren't going 5 innings anymore is because they're throwing a lot harder now too.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That too. They're throwing a lot harder. And in fact, they're not even taught how to pitch anymore, Jamie. They're taught how to throw. When you look at the way that these guys get out there, we're seeing more fastball throwers than at any point in the history of the game. The days of the Greg Maddoxes, the days of the Fernando Valenzuelas, the days of the Doug Drabeks, Adam, Pittsburgh Pirates reference,
or Tim Wakefield,
those guys are gone. We are not going to see control pitchers anymore. We're not going to see pitchers paint the corner of the plate either inside or outside with changeups, curveballs, and sliders. And you're right. When these guys are taught how to throw the ball, not pitch, you're right. That's going to induce a lot more injuries as well.
Mm-hmm.
So is there going to be I guess we'll wait till winter meetings, but is there going to be a fine or what's going to happen there whenever?
I haven't heard about any fine, Adam. All I've heard them right now at this point say is that you're right, Penman, Roger Clemens in that category too. I haven't heard about any fine, Adam. All I've heard right now is about the fact that they do want to create a 6 inning limit and they want to keep a pitch limit between 90 to 95. So if a pitcher, encroaches upon either of those limits, who gets fined? Does the organization get fined? Does the pitcher get fined? And if the pitcher gets fined, does he miss a start? So what happens? So it's still
Are they going to be allowed to go over over the pitch count?
I don't think so, because they're not allowed to go over 100 pitch count anyway, at least during the regular season. I mean, some guys may go over 100 here and there.
If we're watching a perfect game and this guy's at 96 pitches, we got to pull him.
Well, look at what happened with Paul Skeens this year, Adam. He had didn't he have a no-hitter or a perfect game going, and they pulled him this year?
Yeah, well, the Pirates are retarded.
Hmm?
Pirates are retarded.
Well,
why is that over your face today? Why is that covering you up? I don't understand. Usually you look like Mr. Nelson from Tool Time.
Wait, who do I look like?
Wilson from Tool Time, Home Improvement.
The guy, Tim Allen. What was it? Was it Tool Time? What was the name of that show?
It was called Home Improvement.
Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson was the guy standing behind the fence, and all you could ever see is like from here up, like that's all you could
Man.
ever.
You know,
I don't know how-
Jamie, I remember, I think it was back in 2020. No, 2020, 21 or 20. I don't remember when it was, but I remember when the Dodgers had Ross Stripling. They were playing against the Giants in San Francisco. Stripling had a no-hitter going through 8 2/3. He was at 95 pitches exactly. And Dave Roberts went out there after 8 2/3 and yanked Stripling when he still had not given up a hit. And I remember when Dave took a lot of flack for that because that was like during the very beginning of the season. I think it was a May start for Stripling, and he was getting hacked on social media. Oh, you should have left him in there. Oh, you should have done this. Oh, you should have done that. Dave took him out because their analytics told them, A, you're getting ready to go through that batting lineup the third time, and then B, you had already met your pitch limit that we imposed on you, which was 95. Even with a no-hitter going, guys still aren't allowed to go deeper than 95 pitches anymore. So, and what Pensman said earlier about it maybe being 70 to 85, that sounds spot on too. I wouldn't put it past MLB to make a pitch limit that small for these guys.
I do want to congratulate Paul Skeens, Jamie. You were talking about Paul Skeens on being Rookie of the Year, National Rookie of the Year. So, I do want to congratulate him on that.
You guys get some bats at him. You ain't that far away.
I gotta tell you, I watched that start when Paul Skeens got yanked, and Adam, I wish you could have heard me, man. I was screaming and cussing and ranting at the TV, and I was saying to myself, leave him in there. This kid is good for Major League Baseball. This kid barnstormed the league this year. He went to the All-Star game, for crying out loud, after spending a quarter. Yeah, he started the All-Star game after spending a quarter of the season in the minor leagues. And I hope to God I'm not jinxing him when I say I want this kid to stay healthy, because I think he is on the verge of being the next great pitcher in this game. But I was personally pissed when they took him out. I said, leave him in there. Who cares what your analytics say? Who cares if he's thrown 95 or 130 so far? Leave him in there. Let him tell you when he's ready to come out, not the other way around. I was pissed when they took him out of that start.
I guess him and Liv were at the LSU game tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were doing something before the game. I read it somewhere.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see during the winter meetings if that pitch limit that Jamie talked about and that rule gains any traction. I personally think it's going to be a tough sell for the MLBPA. I think it's going to be a snowball chance in hell that the MLBPA agrees to that rule, but especially with Tony Clark as head of the union there. But stranger things have happened, so we'll see what happens.
What's going on with Juan Soto, Jam? Is he going to stay in New York? Is he leaving? What's going on there?
I'm here. I heard an article today. As I was leaving one of my football games I was at, that they think Pete Alonso is going to stay with the Yankees. I mean with the Mets, and Soto's going to stay with the Yankees. I would love to see Soto stay. I think he's going to.
So my belief on Juan Soto is this. I think the Yankees should be considered the #1 favorite to get him back. I do think he wants to come back to the Bronx. It feels like he does. But with that being said, Jamie, Steve Cohen is right now, he's desperate for, not desperate for star power. He's desperate for a championship. And he wants a guy like Juan Soto over there that can electrify Citi Field. Pete Alonso is a great player. The fans love him. They're attracted to him. But and one thing I like about Pete Alonso is he's not a lot of glitz and glamour. He goes about his job every day and does it well, which is crank 35 to 40 homers a season. He's not going to bat a high average because he's pure power and drives and runs. But Juan Soto is the flash that Steve Cohen wants. He's he's the glitz that Steve Cohen wants there in Citi Field. And while I think that Soto's chances of going to the Mets are 50-50, just like any other team, I still think the Yankees should be considered the number one favorite to re-sign him because they saw what he did for New York this season in a full year. And even though he's a defensive liability somewhat, he's a draw for the fans. So
he can be a defensive liability, but he's got a cannon arm in terms of throwing people out, though, at home plate. He's great at that.
Yeah, he does.
I'm going to ask Pens a question real quick. Pens, I'm assuming you mean this 6-year deal with the Yankees.
Read the bottom.
6-year deal, but we were talking about the Mets and the Yankees. I'm assuming
he was talking about the Yankees.
Right, I know he's the
deal 575.
I heard he's coming to Pittsburgh. No, anyway.
Oh my God, Paul, with your young flamethrowing studs, that would be.
Listen. Awesome. The Pirates would never open up a playbook for freaking Juan Soto.
The Pittsburgh Pirates have talent. They have talent.
Good talent, young talent too.
They get rid of Abe. We need a third baseman. His back's done. His back's killed his career.
You guys can have Max Muncy if you want, Adam.
Do they keep Izzy at short, or do they? I don't know if he likes playing center field or not. I mean, that's what he was playing down in the minors, but I don't know if he likes playing center field. And I'm talking about the what the hell is his name? Oh my gosh,
O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, that guy. Oh my gosh, Drew Blank. Anyway, I don't know if Cruz likes playing center, but I mean, we got Reynolds to build around. You got Cruz. You got Izzy down there. If Rich was here, he'd be talking Izzy up left and right. But I don't know what to do. Like, we need a third baseman. We need a bat. We need like 2 good bats.
I heard, who was it on MLB Network? I think it was Tom Verducci. No, it wasn't Tom Verducci. It was Joel Sherman, I think, who had actually thrown a wild speculation out there that the Pirates might actually make a under the radar run at Pete Alonso. I personally don't think, Adam, your team's owner has the balls to go out and make a run at Alonso, knowing what his price tag is. But I'll be honest with you, I would love to see Alonso in Pittsburgh. I think that he would put butts in the seats there in PNC, and he would be a good fit for that team and for that state. I think that ballpark, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never been to PNC, but I think that ballpark would be conducive to Alonso's power. Do you agree?
I do. I mean, it's a friendly park.
It's a beautiful ballpark.
Friendly park if you hit it in the gaps.
Yep.
I mean, we got the 21-foot wall for Clemente and Wright. And it's 306 down the line, 340 to left center.
Yep.
I think the deepest part is 410, right where the bullpens are.
Yeah, its dimensions aren't that deep. It's like what? Is it 410 to straightaway center from home plate?
I thought it was 410 into that little diamond thing in the middle, like right before center field.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't know. I don't remember the dimension. What is it? It's 320 with a 21-foot climb, right?
No, here, let me look them up. Hold on.
I mean, it's nothing like that short porch in Yankee Stadium for sure.
Yeah, right.
Pop the ball up the right field in the short porch, like Joe always says on our show. And it goes out.
All right, so let's see here. PNC Park dimensions. Okay, so Adam, down the left field foul line is 325 feet. The power alley down left field is 389 feet. Oh, here we go. Straightaway left center field is 410 feet. Straightaway center field is 399 feet. Your right field power alley.
That little triangle thing between
Yep.
the bullpen is agree. They support that.
Yeah. So the outfield wall heights, left field to left center field is 6 feet high, center field is 10 feet high, and then right field is 21 feet high. So yeah, favorable dimensions there.
Well, they put it 21 feet high for Clemente.
Oh, of course they do. Yeah, I'm seeing all your comments in here, Pensman Sports, and you know what? I like your comment here about Freddie Freeman. What Freddie Freeman did in that series was just Kirk Gibson, step aside. And I hate to say that because Gibby provided one of the picturesque moments in the history of baseball.
Did anyone catch that they did the Solly over voice of the Freeman hit? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, but what was impressive about but see, Kurt Gibson did it with two injured legs too. That's what was impressive about his.
Yeah, well, I mean, Freddie's sprained ankle normally would have shelved him in the regular season for 4 to 6 weeks. So Freddie wasn't exactly going up there like a racehorse either, but still, it was, I mean, just amazing what Freddie did. And I think that home run he hit, the grand slam to walk it off, it was more thrilling than what Gibson's was, just simply because of the situation. And yeah, Gibson went up there in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs and a runner on and hit it off the most unhittable reliever at the time, who was Dennis Eckersley. But still, grand slam with your team trailing by 3 runs. I mean, and to have Dodger Stadium erupt like that. It didn't even erupt that much when Gibby hit his home run in '88. And I still remember watching that series as a kid. I'll tell you what, the foundation at Dodger Stadium, you could see it just go absolutely apeshit. It was just an awesome moment. I'm not trying to rub it in, Jamie. I'm just telling you how I saw it.
No, it was a great moment, but I credit the Dodgers, but give all the blame to the Yankees there, though. I mean, like I said, in Pensman Sports, I didn't mind him putting Nestor in there, but what I didn't like was, why did they walk Mookie Betts when Freddie Freeman was a better hitter? They could have pitched to Mookie Betts, and it would have never came down to Freeman hitting that grand slam, and they probably would have gotten Mookie Betts out and won game 1. I didn't like they intentionally walked Mookie Betts. Even my mother said it too, because she said Freeman was a better hitter than Betts.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that one out too. And personally, I think when Aaron Boone was asked to explain that, I think he said something to the effect of, well, the career numbers against Freddie Freeman were better for Nestor than they were for Betts, which I think is a bullshit excuse. I don't buy that for 1 minute. What I think it boiled down to, and this is just my opinion, is Freddie was injured. And I think Aaron thought that with Freddie being injured, well, what's he going to do? He's on a bum ankle. He can barely walk. They have to shoot him up every night just for the guy to put on his shoe. And Mookie, to that point, you bring up a good point, Jamie, because Mookie at that point really, I mean, he hit better this postseason, much better than he did the last 3 postseasons combined. But in the World Series, he kind of hit a brick wall, and he was starting to look at everything, chasing stuff that he's normally not accustomed to chasing. So I'm with you. I'm still scratching my head as to why he intentionally walked him. But unfortunately, it's history now, and all we can do is just sit back and reminisce on it. But again, Boone said that the career numbers were just better against Freeman for Nestor in that situation than they were for Mookie, which again, I think is a bullshit excuse, but that's just me.
Well, one thing we know, so Boone's back now. They brought him back, Juan Soto or not. And to be honest with you, I mean, I mean, why not? People say, why bring him back? Why not bring him back? I mean, who's really for them out there to get?
Well, and that's actually a very similar scenario that the Dodgers were facing when Dave Roberts' job was on the hot seat, because for all of the Dodger supporters that are pro Dave Roberts, if Dave got fired, yeah, sure, they could have replaced him with their first base coach, Clayton McCullough. Sure, they could have replaced him with Skip Schumacher. But, I mean, if assuming that they didn't replace him with either of those two guys and Aaron Boone's situation being the same, you're right, Jamie. Who is out there that can keep the Yankees a World Series contender, that can keep the Dodgers a World Series contender? So I think under the circumstances, bringing Boone back on another deal for 1 year was actually a good move for Brian Cashman and the organization, because Boone, he knows the players, they know him, he has a pulse on them, and also let's remember this was the first time that Boone has managed in the postseason. Okay, he's never been a manager at the World Series level, so for him to take the Yankees to the World Series as a manager for the in his first time being there in the postseason, that was a big step for him. So I'm sure Aaron learned a lot this postseason, and if they can come back and reproduce it next season, they'll be a much better ball club as a result of it. I can tell you what, when pitchers and catchers get ready to report and spring training opens, I'm going to bet you Buffalo Nickel, the first thing they work on is base running and then infield fundamentals.
Probably. But people get it. I think, like I said, Jason, I think Yankee fans, they say, oh, they're settling for mediocrity by bringing them back, because the problem is us Yankee fans, I feel like the past lives rent-free in our heads, because people got to remember, everybody says, well, why was Joe Torre so good? Why were these managers so good? And people got to remember that was back when they used to go out and they bought all the good athletes and everything, and nobody else really did that. And Aaron Boone now is dealing with the Sun, and like I said, there's more parity now, and the athletes are better. So like the Yankees winning all those championships like they did back in the day, like that probably could never be repeated again in today's game with parity and better athletes now. So that's why they're keeping Aaron Boone despite that.
Yeah, and I mean, Aaron Boone and Dave Roberts, they're different managers from the standpoint that they're managing in a different era in the game. You mentioned guys like Joe Torre, and Joe Torre was an old school manager. Joe Torre learned, he learned from all the greats and the guys like Whitey Herzog. He learned from Harvey Kane. He learned from Dick Williams. He learned from all these other great managers who managed baseball in a much different style. They managed the game when analytics weren't prevalent in the game. Aaron Boone is managing in an era where analytics are prevalent. Dave Roberts, the reason why he was hired over Gabe Kapler to be manager of the Dodgers is because he believed more in the analytical approach than what Gabe Kapler did, even though Gabe Kapler worked in the analytics department for the Dodgers as a scout before he eventually became manager of the San Francisco Giants. So let's also keep in mind that different strategies, these managers nowadays are being forced to manage more with numbers rather than strategy. And so, but with that being said, I kind of think in a way Boone's getting a raw end of the stick here in New York. And I hear what you're saying about Yankees fans, because Dodgers fans say a lot of similar things about Dave Roberts, including me. I'm a hypocrite, including me. I've been just as critical.
I'm a hypocrite too. I say things about Aaron Boone too that I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, me too. But ultimately, at the end of the day, these two guys are the best two men to manage those baseball teams. And the Yankees could have brought in Skip Schumacher. Who knows how he would have done? Just like the Dodgers could have fired Dave Roberts and brought in Skip Schumacher. Who knows what he could have done? So, and I'm just using Skip as an example. They could have brought in anybody, and you would have been hard-pressed to find the same success under Aaron Boone that you would have found with somebody else, just because he knows the players in that clubhouse, and they have a relationship with him. They have a rapport with him there.
And look at the Red Sox too with Alex Cora. I mean, like people say, well, Alex Cora at least has a World Series ring, but obviously they got rid of him and they brought him back. And look at what they did. They extended him to a 3-year deal, right? And they didn't even make the playoffs this year. That's the funny part, They extended a guy to a 3-year deal that didn't even make the playoffs. So Aaron Boone definitely had to come back based on that.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's still the Red Sox. They're still going to open up their pocketbook.
Actually, the team they had this year actually was a lower payroll than they used to. The team they had this year.
So Jamie, were you surprised at how fast Garrett Cole re-upped with the Yankees, considering they didn't give him the qualifying offer? Did you think that he was going to linger out there a lot longer than what he did?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, he still wanted to be a Yankee, and he said, "Look, I still want to be here. I'm happy being here. I don't need to get greedy. Let's just do this." And he was quick to react, and because he knows where he wants to be. He wants to be with the Yankees and compete for more rings.
Do you feel he gave him a hometown discount?
Wait, what's that?
Do you feel it was a hometown discount, or do you feel it was like Garrett Cole's like urge to say, "I need to get back to that World Series and claim that I'm a good pitcher"?
You could say it was. You could say it's both urgency to get back to a World Series next year, and it was a hometown discount. It was a combination of both, really.
I haven't. I mean, the Pirates made a couple moves, but nothing noteworthy.
I really do hope the Pirates become at least somewhat aggressive this offseason, Adam. I hope if they can't go out and get the big guys, then they can still find a lot of serviceable players out there that can still make them a relevant team next season. I hope that their front office at least acknowledges that.
I just think they right. But I think, like I said, Jason, they want to be careful because I think they're trying to build more with the young guys, like build a team with the younger guys instead of trying to like go out and buy the team, you know?
Yeah.
They're more of a build through the draft type of team. That's why. So, you know, that's hard to do in baseball, but I feel like that's becoming a more a popular trend now, building through the draft in baseball, because guys are making the big leagues quicker, and with it, like you said, with analytics, you can build the team through the draft now instead of just going out and doing it overnight with free agents.
Well, I mean, look at what the Baltimore Orioles have done. The Orioles suffered through 5 consecutive losing seasons of 95 losses or more, and 3 of those seasons they lost 100 games or more. And they've actually come out a lot better as a result, because when they found out that they couldn't spend with the big boys, when Mike Elias was hired as their general manager, he went back and basically did what the Dodgers did when they were purchased by Mark Walter. They went in, completely gutted the old vestiges of their farm system, rebuilt their farm system from the ground up. They scouted, they drafted, and they developed the right young players. And that's why now the Orioles are a consistent winner with their young players. And I know that they really, really faltered going down the home stretch of the season this year, but still their future is good with guys like Jackson Holliday, Jordan Westburg, Heston Kjerstad, what's the other guy's name I'm thinking of?
It's right at the tip of my tongue.
Adley
Ratchin, or how do you say it?
Adley Rutschman, and then
Adley Rutschman, yeah.
Yeah, they have a steady flow of talented young players that are going to make the Orioles a consistent 85 to 100 win ball club every season. Kansas City Royals have done something similar. You know, they've rebuilt everything with a farm system, and they have young guys like Cole Reagans, like Bobby Witt Jr., who have helped fuel that team's, rise to success. So you're right, Jamie. We are now seeing a lot more major league teams realize, hey, if we can't spend with the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and the Padres, then let's do it this way. Let's do it through the farm system, the way that Branch Rickey intended it to be when he invented it with the St. Louis Cardinals when he was their executive.
The one thing the Yankees did do is I liked what they did with their draft in 2024. They built their farm system with a bunch of flame throwing pitchers, which I thought was cool.
Oh, Jamie, speaking of farm system, just the light bulb went off. If the Yankees do bring back Juan Soto, regardless of how long the deal is for, what does that do for Jason Dominguez? Because that still creates a logjam for him. Are the Yankees still sold on Dominguez? And if not, do they deal him, dangle him to somebody else for?
No, he's very sold. They're very sold, Jason. Here's why. A lot of people don't know this, but I saw this on Twitter, and the Yankees never reported this. But I don't know if this should be getting out. They don't want to say this, though. The Yankees don't want to say this to because they could get in trouble for it. But they only were allowed to play Dominguez a certain amount of bats this year. Because if he went over a certain amount of bats, he would have lost his rookie eligibility. But because they didn't exhaust his batting thing, he could still be a rookie next year. And if he wins the 2025 American League Rookie of the Year, the Yankees would get another first-round pick in 2026 for it.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that they've deliberately, like the Dodgers have done with some of their young players, manipulated his service time just to keep him at a threshold so they didn't pay him an extra amount of money or whatever. Is that correct?
Yeah, and to get additional compensation with a draft pick to
okay, see, that's what the Dodgers have done. The Dodgers have manipulated the service times of their young players so many times in the past. I can't begin to tell you the number of times that we heard about Keibert Ruiz being the next great thing at catcher for the Dodgers. He would always get called up, get sent back down, called up, get sent back down, called up, get sent back down. And then they finally shipped him off to the Washington Nationals. They did the same thing with Alex Verdugo. Alex Verdugo was the next great outfielder for the Dodgers. 4.5 tool player, great speed, blah, 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 this and this and that and that. They finally called him up, sent him down, called him up, sent him down, manipulated his service time. Believe me, I know what you're talking about because the Dodgers organization has done that better probably than any other team in Major League Baseball. And a lot of other teams have done it too. The Cubs have manipulated service time with their young stars. They did it. They did it when not Dansby Swanson because he came over from the Braves, but some of their younger players, they've done it. Cardinals manipulated the service time of their minor league players. So it's a lot of other clubs do it. They just they do a good job of concealing it. That's right, Pinsman. That's before we shipped him to Boston. By the way, Boston, thanks for Mookie. I think we'll keep him for another 6 years.
I'm shipping off to Boston. Oh,
yeah, drop kick Murphys.
Yep.
It almost makes up for the Dodgers trading Josh Fields to the Houston trading Yordan Alvarez to the Houston Astros for Josh Fields. Almost makes up for it. That's still the second worst trade in franchise history, in my estimation.
I think the Rule 5 draft was one of your killers.
Rule 5 draft was one of our killers. The worst trade in LA Dodgers.
1969.
Well, no. Actually, the worst trade in Dodgers franchise.
Go.
Well, almost. Yeah, Clemente used to be in the Dodgers organization. A lot of people don't know that.
We got him in the Rule 5 draft.
Yeah, I knew that's where you were going. Actually, thanks for bringing that up, Adam. I appreciate that. The worst trade in Dodgers history.
Dodgers history.
1992, when Tommy Lasorda helped facilitate a trade that sent a young, wild fireballer by the name of Pedro Martinez to the Montreal Expos in exchange for Delino DeShields. And why? Because we needed a second baseman at the time who was Gold Glove caliber with world-class speed on the base paths. Well, we all know what happened as a result of that trade. So that's the worst trade officially in Dodgers history.
Get that away from my mouth, do you? I don't want that stuck in my mouth. What's your problem? And he goes, "What's your problem?" That interview he did.
Yeah, right. And some Dodgers fans will actually have you will tell you that the worst trade in our franchise history was when we shipped Mike Piazza to the Marlins for 10 days before the Marlins eventually flipped him to the Mets, because some baseball fans don't remember that before Mike Piazza went to the Mets, he had a 10-day sojourn in South Florida with the Marlins. No, that's not the worst trade. Trust me. DeShields for Martinez is the worst trade in Dodgers franchise history, in my estimation.
Wow, what made that trade go through? Did you guys not see Martinez as a good pitcher, or?
Well, the reason why we dealt Pedro Martinez is because at that time he was uncoachable, according to Tommy Lasorda, and they just felt he was too wild. They felt his stuff was too wild, and also I think his brother Ramon might have had a part to play in that, because Ramon was still at the peak of his career. And they felt that if they had brought Pedro up to fight for a rotation spot with Ramon, that would have caused a little bit of familial strife. And again, at that time, Pedro was not really one of their prized pitching prospects anyway. I mean, he was up there, but he wasn't a top 20 or 30 pitcher in their prospect. And so from their standpoint, because they had a needed second base at that time, they felt, hey, we have this young kid from the Dominican Republic who can throw 95, 96, but he doesn't have control over his stuff. Let's just go ahead and deal him away, which is what they did.
It's too bad he couldn't call the Yeah, and then he ended up calling the Dodgers daddy anyway. So like he always did. Get that joke? Pedro Martinez I called the Yankees daddy. I called the Dodgers daddy or whatever.
What can I say? At the end of the day, I just tipped my cap and called the Yankees my daddy. What can I say?
And you see that now when they do the when he does the TBS baseball announcers, they go, okay, Pedro, who is your dad your daddy in the game tonight?
Yeah, right. No kidding.
And then he goes through his list. You know Pedro Martinez does that now, right? He's a baseball analyst for TBS, the opening and the closing or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he actually does a decent job. So he's good at what he's doing there.
I love the fact that even though he pitched for Boston, he was actually rooting for the Yankees to do well, though, this year.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, Jay, you got the off week this week. Any games you got in mind for tomorrow? We're going to keep your eye on?
Yeah. In fact, I was just kind of perusing the NFL schedule here. I don't know if it really means anything, but I heard some rumors that Dak Prescott might be lost for the rest of the season because he may have surgery on his hamstring.
He has ESPN's reporting he's going to have the season-ending surgery.
Okay.
Which I think is a good move because they're not really going anywhere. McCarthy's in trouble there, so just let the team take their lumps at the end of the year, get the surgery, so you're good to go for next year. I think that's a proactive move for Dak, to be honest with you, in this situation.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up the NFL schedule now. Let's see. Here.
Des Bryant said he wants Cliff Kingsbury for the Cowboys to be their next coach.
That wouldn't be a good fit.
At least he'd be a younger coach. He's younger than McCarthy, at least.
All right. Adam, I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I mean, there's not a lot of games that really reach out and grab me here. I guess I'd probably say 49ers and Buccaneers, just simply because Christian McCaffrey is going to be back in the lineup for the Niners. Here we go. Adam, you got to love this, man. Pittsburgh and Washington, buddy.
This defense, remember under Dick LeBeau, like rookie quarterbacks had a horrible time going against the Steelers defense. I am going to be curious to see how Daniels holds up against the Steelers defense tomorrow.
Dick LeBeau's great. I like him.
Yeah, he's one of the all-time greats.
He was in 2003 with when the Bills had Greg Williams. He was on the Bills staff, Dick LeBeau, when they had one of the best defenses in the league at that time with Sam Adams and Pat Williams and Lawyer Malloy and all them.
Yeah, I bring up Dak Prescott because the Cowboys are obviously playing the Eagles tomorrow. Cowboys are fucked, man. They're 3-5.
Cooper.
That's why I said.
Here's my question: like,
my mother said it too. She's a Cowboys fan. She said, "Let Dak have the surgery now. It doesn't matter at this point." She even said it.
I don't understand why they're not having Lance start.
Well, no, Adam, I'm glad you brought that up because if they do, I heard if they do play them, they could. And they play him enough, they could get a compensatory pick in next year's draft if they start the Cowboys.
I mean, I don't. Feel Lance catches. I feel Lance fits the Cowboys.
Well, no, he also hasn't had enough reps. If you give him more reps, he could be the quarterback he was supposed to be. You got to remember San Francisco, he was going to be the starter there, and he got hurt. And yeah, the preseason didn't look that great, but at least he got reps in the preseason with Dallas, which was good to see.
What's your wife say to this, Jay? She's a Dallas.
Yeah, my wife is a diehard Cowboys fan, and I'm glad you guys aren't living at my house right now. The only saving grace for me is that she's a Dodgers fan, just like I am, so she can at least still celebrate the World Championship. But yeah, Adam, she is, she's not a happy NFL camper right now. In fact, I tried talking to Cowboys, tried talking to her about the Cowboys in a very polite and cordial manner earlier this week, and she said, "Shut up! I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it." So
the good news is Micah Parsons is coming back, though. They said he's returning already against Philly.
The thing that one of the things that infuriates me the most about the Cowboys is this. Jerry Jones goes on 105.9 FM, WAFN, The Fan there in Dallas.
Rich talked about this too, because he's got one of the people who asked the questions were one of his friends at the station. He said it on one of our shows, I think one of our open.
Oh, really? Yeah. So what infuriates me about that is he goes on Dallas Sports Talk Radio. He has a weekly show with that radio station. He goes on there. He has to know he's going to be asked the tough questions by the host of the show. He goes on there and he threatens their jobs just because he's Jerry Jones and he owns the world and he can do that. But it's like, Jerry, do you not realize why you're being asked these questions? You are being asked these tough questions about the lack of success with your football team, America's team, because you're the one putting the product out there on the field, you nitwit. So you have to think, since you don't have a general manager, since you view yourself as the next Al Davis, even your son Steven doesn't run that team. He's basically your lapdog.
He's probably going to be, though, when he passes, Jerry Jones. I mean, I don't want to say that, but
and that's great. But until that time happens, it's still Jerry's team. So yeah, what infuriates me is that Jerry has got to be the world's biggest hypocrite because he's the one who put this team on the field. He's the one who dished out the bad contracts to Zeke Elliott, dished out the bad contracts to Dak, dished out the bad contract to all the other guys on that team. And yet you're going to start threatening these guys' jobs when they ask you the tough questions that you need to answer.
But the smart news, right? Like I said, Jason, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the smart thing was, though, is he did dump Zeke's contract, and now he's at least, like I said, he's giving it to people that, like I said, now he's giving it to Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Parsons. Three positions where they earn that contract. When you got to remember that contract when he gave to Zeke, that's when they were still paying the running backs, and we don't do that anymore. You know that, right?
And you gotta love the irony of them bringing Zeke back, who's played no part in any type of success for them this season.
Dak wanted that move because he said he's best friends with Dak. That's why. Or Dak said he's best friends with Zeke. That was a Dak recommendation to bring him.
Well, that's good. They ended up actually suspending Zeke for conduct detrimental to the team or behavior issues or something. But the point being is that Zeke Elliott done nothing. So
like I said, but they got Rico. The only bright spot is they got Rico Dowell and Dalvin Cook now, which is good. That might
No, they got
that's
Rico.
that's
Rico is that offense anymore lately, and I'm so glad I didn't trade him. Everyone was like, dump him. I'm like, no. I traded Ezekiel Elliott earlier in the season.
Hold on, guys.
I
I'll be
think
right
it was
back.
part of the Jordan Love trade, Jay. I think I traded Zeke Elliott the Jordan Love trade. And
yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing trading Ezekiel Elliott? I'm like, he sucks.
Yeah, Jordan Love. I got to tell you, man, I like his talent, but he's got to stop throwing ridiculous interceptions.
He's turned into a little bit like Jameis Winston.
Yeah, a little bit.
With the wild throws, the interceptions. Now he's being benched for Willis. I don't.
Honestly, coming off the season that he had last year with Green Bay, I kind of saw this coming down the road. I kind of felt like, especially after signing the contract, I felt like he was going to
sophomore year. This would be technically his sophomore year.
It would. And if you remember me saying a while back, Adam, on your show here, that I felt more comfortable with Green Bay giving him a 1 or 2 year prove it or lose it contract rather than giving him the full 4 years and then the guaranteed money up front like they ended up doing. And I mean, he's still having a decent season. I mean, he's thrown for over 1,000 yards. His completion percentage, it's not great, but it's not bad. But still, he's making some dumb decisions out there on the football field. Fortunately for him, Green Bay's defense has been better than what I thought it would be this year under Jeff Hafley, their defensive coordinator. So their defense has kept them in games, and they're fine. I'm sorry?
Isn't Saleh there now, too?
They just brought on Saleh this past week to be an advisor, in quotation marks. We'll see how long that lasts.
Defensive advisor.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I thought that Saleh hire was good because he's going to do some wonders for guys like Quay Walker and McDuffie and those other good young linebackers that they have, and all the whole defense in general. He's just going to do some good things for them. So, but and Malik Willis, I hate to say this, but I think right now he's probably, especially since Jordan, I don't think is fully healed from that MCL injury. Malik Willis might actually give them their best chance to win going down the middle portion of the season, which, by the way, it's going to get a lot tougher for Green Bay. Their schedule tightens up a little bit here, so we'll see what Malik can do.
Jamie, what's going on with Amari Cooper?
It looks like he still has a shot to play, but Coleman's not playing. But like I said, the one good news is that they have receivers that they may not be to the level of Coleman or Cooper, but they have receivers that can still play. And like I said, knock on wood, Josh Allen is he's still healthy, and as long as he's still healthy, he can. And like I said, you let Coleman heal up for this game, get him ready for Kansas City, and let Cooper play this week and see what happens. I think we'll see what happens.
Well, you guys did call up a lot of rookies off the practice squad. Or at least
we did call rookie off the practice squad. I think it was like Jalen. Let me look up his name. Hold on.
Yeah, I know it was a rookie. Yeah.
Let me look it up. I don't want to botch this. Yeah, he's from the practice squad.
Jay, now I gotta ask you.
Let's see.
It's
Jalen Virgil. Yeah, he was from the practice squad. They signed him. Let me take a look at him. Let's see. He actually he's been a practice squad call up twice. They said he could be a return specialist too. He's fast. He ran a 4.4, 4.39 40. So he's another burner basically, which is good.
Jay, do you get up and just watch football all day because you're out on the West Coast? Like, you have games starting like breakfast time.
Yeah. I'm a little bit selective in what games I watch. Obviously, I'm not going to sit back and choose a snooze fest like the Jaguars and the Browns. No offense, Evan. But and it's tough because out here on the West Coast, the only games I really get to watch a lot of are the 49ers, the Rams, and the Raiders because they're in my broadcast region. The Packers I get to watch probably about maybe half a dozen times a year just because they're the national game of the week on Fox sometimes. Unfortunately, I'm exposed to a lot of Cowboys games, so that really tests my mental fortitude every now and then. But by and large, though, Adam, yeah, I get a heavy dose of Niners, Rams, and Raiders, probably in that order. Chargers too sometimes.
I was just asking if you get up early and watch.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I get up early and watch sometimes. I'm a good little boy, and I go to church too. So when I come home from church, I'll tune in and watch Fox pregame, and then keep it on whatever game is on after that.
I watch Fox NFL Kickoff too.
Yeah. So Adam, I got to ask you, man, with the state of your team's conference right now, Steelers, what do you think? Are they good enough to challenge, or are they good enough to be a legitimate wild card threat?
We're entering the back half of this season. I have us still 8-9.
That's a prove it. That back end of the schedule. That's a prove it or move it point.
This is a brutal part. And in the beginning of the season, I didn't think I liked Jaden Daniels, but I didn't think Washington was going to be this good.
Oh, nobody did. Nobody did.
Dylan did.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I take that back. Dylan, not worthy. Dylan predicted this.
And Rich went on and made a bolder predicament. If the Redskins win, he's going to wear a Cowboys jersey for an episode.
Wow.
Yeah. So I want to. So yeah.
So did he specify what kind of Cowboys jersey or just a general jersey?
He said Cowboys jersey. I don't know. If
Okay,
I had to wear a Cowboys jersey, I own one Cowboys jersey, and it's the only one I own. I got a Felix Jones jersey, and I made sure I got the Thanksgiving Day jersey of it because that was my favorite Cowboys jersey.
All right, Felix Jones, Arkansas guy. Okay, I can see that.
I love them at Arkansas, and I was like, all right, well, here's my chance to get a Cowboys jersey because it's Felix Jones.
Felix Jones.
Well, he and Darren McFadden, man, when they played at Arkansas, they were freaking thunder and lightning when they played together at Arkansas.
They were dangerous.
Yes, they were. Hell of a 1-2 punch.
Arkansas's got a 1-2 punch now too that was working for them. They got they had this running back who was a transfer, and they had this freshman running back who's 6'1", 253 pounds. He's like a baby Derrick Henry a little bit.
Did the Dogs lose today?
Yeah, they lost to don't tell your buddy they lost to Ole Miss
28-10. Ole Miss's defense, man, they were on Georgia like white on rice today. That defense.
Yeah, but they can run that offense at net break speed too. That offense is so fast they run with.
Here's, I'm going to be interested to see how long the Lane Kiffin back to the NFL coaching rumors start, because he's having success there at Ole Miss, and it makes me wonder, when are the NFL rumors going to start swirling around again? Well, we have Lane Kiffin up to be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars or this and that. It's like, stay in college, Lane. You're doing good things down there at Oxford. Stay in college. Don't go back to the NFL. You had to learn your lesson the hard way 3 times. Unless you're going to come back to the NFL as an offensive coordinator, great. Don't come back as a head coach. Stay at Ole Miss. You got it made there.
Right?
Yep.
I did see my other team lost today too. Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech and Miami are 2 of my favorite teams growing up. So it was a toss up, but I wanted to see Miami win because they were undefeated. I didn't think that was a pure touchdown pass that kid from Georgia Tech caught either. I don't know if you got to see that, but it looked like it was bobbled.
My Fresno State Bulldogs, go Dogs, go! Currently leading Air Force 7-0. I know nobody cares except me. Woohoo! Go Dogs!
All right. What's wrong with those? What's wrong with the Bulldogs?
Oh man. Well, first of all, let's start with our quarterback, Mikey Keene. He takes us out of more football games than he keeps us in football games. I'll just put it that way. And I don't know if you know this, Adam, but Fresno State's defensive coordinator this year is Kevin Coyle. You remember him, right?
I remember the name. I don't really remember much about him.
So Coyle, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Coyle used to be the defensive coordinator for the Steelers a long time ago, if I'm not too much mistaken, or the Broncos or somebody. But he's widely regarded as one of the best defensive coordinators in all of football. And Fresno State's defense has been legit this season. They've kept our team in games, but our quarterback, Mikey Keene, this guy couldn't throw a football through a rubber tire with a 40-foot hole in the middle. I mean, he's just – not that he has a bad arm strength. He's just well, he's not a playmaker of a quarterback.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know much about him. Sorry.
No, that's all right. No worries. Let's see. Alabama's beating LSU 28-6. Notre Dame kicked ass. Florida State, though, that doesn't count as a win.
What, Notre Dame?
Yeah. I still don't know what to make of Tennessee. They won today 33-14, but I'm still not sure how viable of a contender they are in that new playoff format this year.
Jamie, do you like the playoff rankings?
I do right now. Notre Dame being 10. I mean, Notre Dame being 10 is good right now, and it still gives them a chance to win out and eventually host the game. Maybe that would be cool.
All right. Well, you guys got anything left to say? We've been in an hour. We just kind of threw this show together with some scraps.
Yeah, I do. I just want to say how fun it's been to be back on the show. I know that my work schedule is not conducive to me doing a lot of open mic sessions anymore, which I missed a lot. But always a delight to be on the show, talking sports with you, Jamie, anybody else you have on here, Adam, and respect you, appreciate you, love you, man. It's always fun. Always been a joy.
Always that fun, Jay. Jay, if you're ever bored, you can always log on through your phone at work and jump in on Tuesday night.
on Tuesday nights, I'm either covering volleyball, soccer soon to be, basketball. So I'll try.
Shouldn't volleyball be coming to an end in high school?
Yeah, I'm actually covering sectional championships and playoffs last week. So volleyball's at this very end here of their season. But anyway, yeah, it's been fun as always. Enjoy it, and you guys are the best.
All right, Jay. One day I will be able to talk about your high school shows. Are you gonna how's the movie life? Are you getting any voiceovers?
Not yet. I'm still in the very beginning stages of my so-called voiceover career. I'm actually in the I'm in the process now of purchasing all the equipment that I need. And actually, Adam, a lot of the equipment that I'm getting, I can use to do a podcast.
Right.
Yep.
Right?
So
I've been telling you for months, Jay.
There you go. Double whammy. But as soon as something comes of that, I'll keep you guys in the loop and let you know how that all plays out.
Wait, you're gonna be starting a podcast?
I still have hopes of doing one, Jamie, but right now I'm jumping into voiceover work. So I'm going to be recording some scripts for TV commercials, just some basic stuff, maybe video games here and there, but it's not going to be like voicing a movie and doing a voice in a Disney movie. It's not that expensive. I wish.
Jay, but a start is a start.
Yes, it is. It's a foot through the door, either way you look at it. So I'm not expecting to be the next, big voiceover actor here. But like you said, it's a start.
Well, let's hear what you got. Do someone.
All right, let's see here.
Let's put you on the spot, buddy.
Hold on. When you're feeling in the mood, and you need to calm down. Don't overreact. Just react to the best. Have a cup of Folgers coffee, and let the caffeine do the rest.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I love it.
Oh man.
So there you go. There's my shining moment.
I like it. Jamie, how people get a hold of you, buddy?
All right, love this guy. I love it, but this is cool too. You can follow me, yours truly, Jamie Malloy, at DJ Dog Tags. My handle's at the bottom right there. Or at Bill's Chat 1 at Bill's Mafia Chat on X. But you can also follow me on forkball.com where I write sports for all stories, and also on Driving to the Top Productions. Don't forget to like, comment, ring the bell notifications, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're always trying to get better, Driving to the Top Productions. And for more content, open mic night on 9 p.m. on Tuesday night, or live Joe Dalio's Buffalo Sports Conversation Room Show Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Don't forget, please tune in to our Facebook stream, Twitch stream, YouTube account, Twitter page, or X page, wherever you consume your podcast. Thank you guys very much for listening.
Alrighty. Jamie covered all the bases. Hit that like notification. Driving to the Top Productions on YouTube. You can find me right there at that Sports Talking It. Yeah, so that was our show for tonight, guys. I thought we kicked a little ass, and it's always fun talking to both you boys out there. Jay, we need to get you back on the mic more often, and I know you want to talk sports and you cover sports, so don't worry, man. You'll be back. You'll be back on here.
I will.
Well, I'm glad the wife gave up a Saturday evening kind of thing and let you get behind the mic. Actually,
this is where having a teenage daughter comes in handy. She can keep her mother occupied and free me up.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. All right, guys. Everyone, for the people out there watching and listening, thank you. Always tune into the channel and leave your comments so we can get them and have a conversation back with you as well. And everybody have a good night.